next 2 hours, be prepared to open your mind to the edgier side of the metaphysical world. The topics discussed may prove disturbing to some, but are all a part of the world in which we live. Welcome to the Rev and Witch Show. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, all you denzians of the odd and the crazy and the insane, and those out there who don't wear pants. That would be us here. Welcome to the Rev and Witch Show. I am your most congenial host, Tim Shaw, and with me is the illustrious, the munchkin of all munchkins, the barmaid who loves white go-go boots, and well, I'll be honest with you, she has a bouffant that's 4 feet high. Anyway, who am I with today now?
I don't know. I don't resemble that person.
Yes, you do. The wonderful, illustrious Marla Brooks. Hello, Marla. It's been a while.
I know, and there may be some people out there that have never heard about anything about the Rev and Witch. We might want to explain what it is, sort of, kind of, because we put the disclaimer on already, but, they're thinking, what the, yeah.
Well, the Rev and Witch Show happens to be the brainchild of Marla Brooks, and I just happened to, she used to send me a couple bucks here and there, so I used to, when I was out there panhandling looking for food, she would go and pick me up, and we would do a show together, and we would do some edgier shows, and we did, actually. My favorite show was Sex Magic, of course. I mean, that was really, that was actually a great show with with the late Donald Craig.
Donald Craig, yeah.
Yeah, he was really, really good. One of the movers and shakers back in the day. Whenever I run down to the Buckland Museum, I always talk to Stephen, the curator there, and he used to carry a lot of his books, and Sex Magic was always one of the bigger sellers because it was pretty easy.
Risque?
Well, no, I won't say risque.
No.
Well, yeah, risque.
For some people.
Well, yeah, not so much for us, but I mean, for other people, they might be a little eye opener for the Baptist teetotalers out there. Yeah, I can see that might be something that might be a little crazy. But we used to really do some really great, really cutting edge stuff. And,
well, that was the first one, and I think people were really shocked because they knew about your show, they knew about my show. Sorry, but both of us are going to be clearing the throats today.
We are the nasal kids. That's what it is.
Oh.
We're like those red-nosed, snotty-nosed kids that that come over to your house to play, and your mother goes, "Those are plague dogs. Get them out of the house now." And then they throw you in the tub and stuff and wash you down with hydrogen peroxide so you don't catch anything.
Well, nobody's going to catch it tonight. They're just going to have to put up with the clearing of throat. But what I was saying was that was the Sex Magic show was the first Rev and Witch. And because we were using words, graphic not graphic, but anatomy parts and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think...
And body fluids. And
body fluids, yeah. And I don't think anybody thought that was coming.
Yeah, well, in many ways, shapes, and forms, yes. But that's a show for another time now, of course.
Right.
But
we've had a lot of edgy ones, not and I mean some are scary edgy, and some are like, oh my God, edgy, right?
Well, yeah, a little bit. But I think think back about it, Marla. Think back about it. When we first all were together, I mean, you were on Para X before me. Mm-hmm. And think back about what the shows were like back then. I mean, of course, you had 3 or 4 paranormal networks at the time. Para X was one of the bigger ones. And, it was really homogenized. Most of it was,
Ghost hunters,
Ghost hunters, yeah. Or else you had, your collared clergy walking around telling everybody what was good and bad and what demons they had hanging around them, and all these other dingleberries and other such attachments. And back then, it was nobody really wanted to tackle some of the stuff that we tackled. And now, I mean, it's funny because now,
It's
like,
nothing.
well, yeah, I mean, now, I'm still a podcaster and vodcaster, and I still listen to everybody's, podcasts. And, now it's like regular day, it's like, it's an everyday subject. Nobody bats an eye with it. But back then it was a whole different story. I mean, we all know the story about Marla dancing skyclad, around the maypole or
Now,
something.
that was you.
Oh, that was me. I forgot
Yes, that
about
was
that.
you.
That's right. Somebody had to do it, Marla, right? Somebody had to.
Well, sure. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't take a video of it, but
Yeah, so am I. And you know what? I was in better shape back then.
And even then, it would, yeah.
Yeah, we don't even want to think about it then.
Yeah. Well, you might want to quickly explain the Rev part of it, because you're not kind of using that much anymore. But
No. Yeah, I'm excuse me, I am an ordained minister, and a lot of people are like, you who drop an F-bomb every time that every time you look sideways, but yeah, I am an ordained minister. And you know what, Mar, the reason why I don't use that very often is because too many people equate that with, Christian
religion.
Like, absolutely. And to be honest with you, every time somebody passes wind in a certain direction, they become ordained ministers. I mean, back when I was going through it, I mean, I had gone through 2 sets of ordinations, and now, I mean, everybody just for a couple $100, a couple of dollars here on the internet, or if you really want to go and you want to take some classes or whatever, I mean, a couple $100. I mean, I won't lie, I paid $200 for my mediumship through, or my ordination through the priesthood of Melchizedek. And the only reason I did that is because the church that I had been associated with, the spiritualist church, had closed, and I wanted to make sure that I was still viable and I could do things without any problems in New York State. But the longer that I used it, the more it just was like so superficial, and it's like everybody else uses it, and I'm not a person that has likes titles, and it's like, I just played it out, and now I'm just, whenever they bill me, it's just Tim Shaw, and
right,
that's it, and that's the way it is. Whenever you see my credits on TV, it says just Tim Shaw.
Well, maybe the next time we do a Rev and Witch show, it should be called the Rev and Witch Show. Or no, well, we'll find something else.
How about 2 witches out of the closet? I kind of like that.
Oh,
No, I don't know. That has too many other connotations to it. So we'd have to really think about it. We have to be able to steer the audience in the right direction.
Is that possible?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
I don't think so.
All right, so tonight, now that we've gotten through all of that, we haven't done a Rev and Witch in a long time, and mostly because you're never around. Here you go, you retire, and every time I see something, every day, if I go to your Facebook page or whatever, you're gone. You're here, you're there, you're doing this, you're doing that. I get whiplash for looking. So, it's not going to work right to try to pin you down. I mean, I've tried a couple of times, and I don't know, by the grace of God or Goddess, today you've decided it was okay. You had time to breathe.
Well, it was funny because I've got some projects that I've been really, bucket list projects that I've been doing. And a lot of people out there who follow me know that I had two pretty big surgeries back to back. I had a cornea transplant because I had lost probably just about all the vision in my right eye, and the cells of the cornea actually were like muck. That's the only way you can describe it. And I had cataract surgery last year on the eye, and I've had trouble with my right eye for probably 35 years. And finally they sat me down and said, listen, maybe the only way that we can save that site is to have the transplant. And the transplant itself is actually it's like crazy because it's an outpatient procedure, but it's a long haul. You can't do anything, And then just as I was getting, I was able to get moving again, I had my 10th bladder surgery, which is not always fun. But and that kind of set me back. So I decided. Last year I did so much. I mean, we had done filming, and I did so many talks and appearances and stuff that I decided that I would take most of July and most of August off. So during this time now, I have like this, like Santa's list of naughty boys and girls. The one that you and I are always on.
Yes.
I have this bucket list that I've wanted to go and search out, and there's a lot of places that I've wanted to go to. So that's what I've been doing. I mean, we were able to go to West Virginia Penitentiary, which that place even kind of freaked me out a little bit. It was. Because I got to tell you what, I mean, jail's a jail. To me, like an asylum's an asylum. They all look the same to me after a while, after all these years. And oh my God, I mean, that place freaked me out. But there's so many other little projects I've been working on, and so that's basically what we've been doing. Plus my wife Nancy and I, we've been, we've actually done a little traveling this year, and then poor little Winnie blew her knee out. So I mean that. We had that we were contending with and working with, and so we wanted to get her out and stretch her legs a little bit. Like today, we were up at we were at the haunted Dunkirk Lighthouse. Here in New York State on Lake Erie, and actually I will be booking a private investigation there just for myself and a few good friends, and. We're going to be able to get out there and have some fun. But oh my God, I've been like mass. And the other thing is the other project that we've been working on is types of recorders. And if anybody went on my Facebook page today, you saw that I got yet another recorder in. The other night we sat down and we were working with EVPs, and we had like 23, 24 different recorders that we've been using. And we're trying to find the absolute best recorder for the price. I mean, everybody talks about the Panasonic D60 and all that. Well, I'm not paying $1,600 for a friggin' recorder. I mean, that's like ridiculous. But I'm looking for things like $200 and under. And actually, I'll be honest with you. You know how cheap I am. I'm looking for ones that are $20 and under with free shipping if I can get them. So, I mean, I've been really doing a lot of experimentation with gear, and some really neat stuff, So, and on top of it, you'd be almost proud of me because I've been working with cards a little bit more, so I don't, I'm not so burned out at the end of a busy day of readings and that sort of thing, just kind of to help myself along. So I've been working with that, and as a matter of fact, I put the Black Hat Lounge on hiatus for 2 months or a month, and we're coming back next week at 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find it on my Facebook page, of course. And I'm just going to do readings. I'm gonna, not going to do any. I'm not going to do an interview, but and speaking of interviews, I had the all-time greatest interview ever. Ever. I had Dacker Stoker on, the great-grand nephew of Bram Stoker, and he's the guy that's in charge of the Stoker estate and all the licensing and stuff, and he travels the world. And
wow.
Oh my God, he was the most fast. And I got the greatest compliment from him. Because he said to me, you really did your homework for this interview. And I was like, yeah, you think? You think I would sit there and not do my homework? But yeah, I did a lot of homework for her, to do that. But it was great. So I've been just kind of like, I shouldn't say take it easy because no, there's no such thing. And Yes. What day is today? Oh, was it Tuesday? What day was it? Did I go? No, yesterday. No, yes. I'm sorry. Tuesday. I was doing some pickup work for Nick Groff's show Death Walker for his season 4. So I was doing a demon. So I'm sure you guys saw me, on my Facebook craziness. But I was doing a background demon for whatever, and I'll also be a witness for his Fort Niagara. His Fort Niagara episode that's coming up. I think they start again in October. You can get them on. Well, they're streaming. They're in a couple places. So all you got to do is just go and check for Deathwalker or Nick Groff, and you'll find them. But yeah, it's so funny. And you went and when you wrote me, and you know what? Listen, when Marla goes, and I know she's in trouble when she says, "Well, I know you're not going. I know you're so busy, and I know you're not home that much." But and I know, okay, if I have nothing, and you know what? Again, Nancy and I were gone almost the whole day, and I said I have nothing planned at night. So this is, instead of me sitting there in my underwear watching Law and Order, I am here with my little sister Marla. But I am still in. Honestly, I'm still in my underwear, but that's another story.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything else from you. But what was, okay, so what I put on the banner,
yes,
that was the demon? Because there was other pictures on your website, so that was the demon. I'm trying to put it in the chat room, and they just changed the chat room, and it's not letting me.
Well, that was a demon. That was the three demons that somebody saw someplace, and again, we were doing pickup work, which means that we weren't filming. Now that the filming that took place was at Western Block in Lockport, New York, on Market Street, and that place is buku haunted. It's crazy haunted. it's crazy, but and I know Nick has been there a couple times, like 3 times to just to do episodes, and was it Expedition X? Josh Gates spinoff. They've been there working, so they've had a lot of notoriety. But that's what we were doing. So I figured that I was going to go in there and play a paranormal investigator and hang out. And next thing I know, they changed me. They changed us over, and I got a couple bloody handprints on my head, and away we went.
Typecasting. Typecasting. Yes. Yeah.
I can't believe you said that. How can you say that about me?
I know you will. That's all I'm going to say. And Nancy's in the chat room, and she will agree. But anyway, that's besides the point. So when are these things coming on?
If I'm not mistaken, I'm already on a couple episodes of season 2 and 3. And whether it's a witness or a background or an extra or whatever, but these should be coming out in October, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what Nick said on Tuesday night.
And they can be found where?
And I turned off my phone, so I'm not going to be able to find it now. But
okay,
it's on streaming. It's on 2 streaming platforms. Just everybody, if you're looking to find out, the show is called Death Walker. What is so wonderful about Death Walker is the fact that it is 100% Nick Groff's project. There's no outside funding that's coming in. It's coming out of his pocket, or a lot of times it's just locations will just invite him in, trying to to get out there. Oh, there I am. I'm looking beautiful there. That's a real me.
Yes, it is. Yes.
But so he doesn't have any network constraints, which is phenomenal. He doesn't have to listen to the network. He doesn't have to go and, he doesn't have to kowtow to any of the bigwigs and that sort of stuff, which, I mean, I kind of, having worked in reality TV and having worked on so many different TV shows, I understand it, and he does a great job. So he's come a long way since, and we'll just say he was forced off the air, The less we say about that, the better.
Yeah.
But he's come a long way, and he's really developed a great project, and I'm grateful. He never forgets. He's never forgotten me. He always brings me in. He always, if there's something that with my expert that he needs my expertise on, or and his wife Tessa is a great medium. We've been friends. I've known Tessa before I met Nick, and she's a Buffalo girl, and so it's really it's just great, and I love working small production companies. I think those are phenomenal, which I've done, and we can even talk about that later on if you want, or whatever you want, Marla. Marla, I am just yet putty in your hands to be created and to be abused, I guess.
Since when?
Yeah, well, today. I'll throw that out there.
All right. Well, we do have a question from the chat room.
Hello, chat room.
It's from Tabby, and she
Hey,
says, have you tried to use reel-to-reel tape recorders, as I have read that they get a lot of EVPs because of the properties of the tape itself?
I used those many years ago, the reel-to-reels. I did. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't really found... I mean, I got a lot of background voices, but nothing that you would consider a Class A. Mm-hmm. I have resurrected, oh my God, I can't believe it, my original cassette player recorder that I used in paranormal investigations. There's only two of us that I swear to God are still alive that used them, Zaphis and me. Okay. And I've actually resurrected it. I buy blank tapes on Amazon, and I take them out, and so long as I use a microphone, that's got a longer cord, you're pretty much golden with it. And we've gotten quite a few things doing it that way. But Omar, I got to tell you, I got invited to Lions, New York, the Lions, New York Community Center. And it's part of it's a modern building, and part of it's an old 1800s building. And the 1800s building is being totally renovated. I'm talking, it's down the studs. So we're up in the attic, and there's 6 of us. And I don't know if anybody plays these games, but we like playing EVP games. And because, you get tired of going and saying, is there anybody here? You get so tired of it. And I never really, I'm going to be honest with you, I never really get anything with those. So we play these games, and one of the games that we play is counting. And it's like, hey, can you tell us what comes after when we stop? And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're up in the attic, and we did that. And it's a 24-second tape, or clip. And, you get some haze and you get some hiss, but all of a sudden, right at like the 27, I'd say about the 25-second mark, you hear a static click, and you hear the word 7 whispered. And at that point, I just said, this is it. We're not going to get a better one than this. We're not going to get a better piece of evidence than this now. I said, we might as well go home. But it was 2 hours late, 2 hours to get there. So we decided to do a little bit more investigation, which actually, I had, as soon as I walked in, I felt like I was getting choked. And one of the ladies that we were up there with, they saw full-bodied person in a hoodie that they thought that was that was in there, but we were all totally in lockdown. And it ended up that it was this one guy's friend that had hung himself, and the lady actually picked him out of photos. That was amazing. So it was a great evening. We had a good time. So again, that stuff is on my bucket list. I mean, the Lions Old County Jail in Lyons, New York, that place jumps. I mean, it's like, I call it a 12-seater. There's I think there's like 12 jail cells or 24. I forget how many jail cells there are. But it is just a small little facility, and there was a modern, there was a house attached to it, where the where the warden and the sheriff, or I should say the sheriff lived, and the family took care of it. It's great. It's just it's another place that I'd always wanted to go to. So it was just another neat place. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Have you noticed, I forget his name, Gary Galkin? He did the, what?
Oh, Gary Galka?
Galka, yeah.
Pro Measure, yeah.
He is like putting 50 things a day on Twitter about recorders and all these things. I mean, it's rather amazing. He's got blinders on about that, and I don't know what it is all about, but I didn't know if you had him on your friends list or something. Or
no, what? I probably don't even have him on my friends list because because when I got hacked, I just said that was it. That was enough because when I got hacked, it was just it took it right down, and as a matter of fact, every time I go and I disable it, something keeps enabling it back on. But he's an inventor, and I like a lot of his gear, and he's got a lot of different gear out there. Some stuff I think I'm not really thrilled with, but I do like. I mean, his meters are phenomenal.
Sure.
Galka's meters, and I use them predominantly in every investigation I use because I have the REM meter. So I mean, this is a piece of equipment I don't have to carry yet another piece with me as I'm walking through a house. And so I mean, I do like his stuff. Recorders now. I mean, what I've my consensus is now that the older recorders are so much better because they don't have all the filters, and they still have some. You can strip them off. But the older recorders, for some reason, seem to really be resonating. And I'll be honest with you, I'm working with a bunch of 20-year-old audio recorders. And, my friends and I are all kind of doing the same thing. And we are getting probably the best EVPs we've ever gotten. Wow. So, I mean, it's what it is, it's what it is. And Gary is just prolific. He's like a, once he sinks his teeth into something, he just doesn't let go. So he's always putting stuff out there. The ones, I mean, and like the spirit boxes, I don't know. I don't know. Did I tell you about the spirit box thing that happened to me in my down here in the collection room?
I don't think so.
So after I had my cornea transplant, I'm down here and I can't do anything. I can't lift. I mean, I can't even lift a bottle or a carton of milk. And I mean, there's a lot of restrictions. The only thing I was doing, and I am like, Marla, it's like I'm refusing to be old, but it's happening no matter what. I'm getting sucked into the war.
Are you going to admit to something now?
Oh yeah, it just sucks. But anyway, I'll go and I'm down here and I can't do anything. So I have a DVD of senior chair yoga, and I'll be honest with you, it's actually. If you go, I think there's like three different programs, and if you go to that third one, it's it's good stretching. So, I got that thing down. I got the sound off because it's like I've been doing it for a while, and I said I'm going to go and I'm going to throw in my scanner box, and I'm going to put a spirit box enhancer on there, one of the filter boxes. So the thing, you remember the days of the. You remember those days that you used to sit there and go, oh, dear God, my head. And I used to always tell you, oh, my God, oh, please, not a whole show on it. I got a nosebleed already. And, so I have it, and I have it set up that it's like I have chatter, but I make sure it's like really low chatter. And, this way I can only hear like the strongest stuff. So I'm sitting in this chair stretching out, watching this, watching the instructor, and I hear Felix, and I'm going, Felix, and it just like kind of blurted out, and it was a full name, and I'm going, Felix, and so I said, do I know you? And in real time, like literally seconds later, I hear, and this is the way it works. I mean, all of a sudden the chatter stops, and it sounds like a very clear lower frequency, and the word transplant came through.
Wow. So
at that point, I said, okay, I think I get the message. I think that, because I was trying to figure out how to honor this, because I know, it was a man that donated his corneas, and I knew he was 50 years old or 55. No, he's 55 years old, and, reasonably good health, no cancer, no HIV or anything. But, that's all they tell you.
Yeah.
So I had been thinking about that, trying to figure it out, and that came through. So I went and I got a hold of somebody, and I said, listen, and this is a guy that really does a lot of work with EVPs. And the first thing he asked me was, is this, tell me, is this like, what were you listening to, AM? I said, no. He goes, good, because if that was AM, you might get PBS, you might get something like, NPR on there. You might, that's where you would hear that. I said, no, I was using an FM, scan. He goes, there's not a lot of talk radio in FM. He goes, but the word transplant is, first of all, it's pretty unusual. He goes, a name is a name, but that's pretty unusual. And he goes, and there was no break, right, between trans and plant? I said, absolutely not. It was transplant. One word, it was solid. He goes, that's kind of unusual. He says, I really think that you may have gotten something there. So I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
That got all right.
That's very cool.
But that was a shock.
Yes, because you have the what is it? You need to be proved beyond a shadow of a doubt before you believe it. Yeah.
Not all the time, but when it comes to me, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah, well, they know you're around, and they know you're puttering, and they know you're doing that for something good rather than something stupid. Well, maybe once in a while there's a little stupid, but
well, let's face it. You're talking to somebody that puts it on and listens while I'm folding laundry.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. People are like, "You're doing this stuff in your house?" I said, "Why not?"
Yeah.
There's nothing bad in my house. I said, "You only worry about if you have to worry about it. Well, then that's what you're going to attract." I got a shadow person down here in my basement. A lot of times, my offices are kind of set up like an L, and I have my main collection room with all my, the haunted objects and the asylum pieces and all the, all my really cool stuff that all the Victorian death stuff and, the esoteric games and a small kid's rocking chair from the rolling hills aside. I mean, I've got all this stuff out there, And in my main office where I do my writing and all my correspondence is sort of in the back. And when I'm when I'm broadcasting, a lot of times I'll look up and I'll see like a little shadow kind of peek around there and go back. So, and I was coming out. As a matter of fact, I was coming out of the collection room, going up the stairs, and I went into the family room. And there's a picture window, and it directly looks out onto a sunroom, and I saw a woman sitting there. So I think it was the woman who used to live here. So that was really nice. I mean, it was just, and it's so funny because it was like I saw it, I stopped, I looked, and it just kept going. Like, yeah, okay, like this happens every day.
I know, that's kind of amusing because over here it's very haunted too, and I'll go in the house, and at one point somebody walked right in front of me, and I kept doing what I was doing, and how many years ago would I be, oh my God, what the heck was that, But I think you get used to it because you feel that it's nothing negative. It's not jumping down your head. And, sometimes if they get a little rambunctious, it's like, knock it off, please. But yeah, I mean, it's funny how you get used to it, and it's second nature.
And I still don't like the total darkness. That's bullshit. I hate darkness. I do not I hate darkness.
Oh my God.
Because you know what? I think it comes from having lost my sight in the one eye and always having trouble with that eye. But I hate walking into things. The other night when we were filming up at Western Block, I had to go to the bathroom in the worst way. And I started walking out, and all of a sudden I got through this little gallery because it's all these great little galleries. I go through these galleries, and I go into a pitch black hallway. I'm like, oh, are you so stupid? You've got a flashlight. You didn't bring your, on the table. You left your cell phone on the table. It's like, oh, it's like, mostly it's because of walking into stuff. But the other thing is I hate stuff that jumps out at you. I hate.
You mean like Nancy?
Well, she hasn't done it in a while.
Really?
But,
you were healing.
Well, yeah, I think so. But yeah, it was like she didn't even have to jump out. She was just standing around corners. I turned and I jump.
You did Elver Fudd, yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's just I don't like that. I don't like the surprise stuff because it's like that's ridiculous. That's that's amateur time, and as well as I do. You can ghost hunt. Why are you ghost hunting in the dark? Why?
Yeah.
You think you're going to see something more? No, you're not. Your eyes adjust, how many times a second, and your brain fills the rest of it in. So why are you doing it in the dark? It does not worry about that, Yeah. So I don't, it's like put a light on, put a little red light or a green light on or a blue light, and just to have something as a point of reference. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how many times, if we had been sitting in the total darkness, it would have, we would have missed it. But we've had shadow people, cross through, like red lights, or even if you do and talk, or even if you use like your the grid systems, the grid light, the laser lights. Yeah. So long as you have something, that's all you need. You don't need to, and everybody's like, oh, well, the darkness, and we need it. No, you don't. You don't need it. If you do, if you stop watching TV for a while, but don't stop watching Stream, because I am on Discovery Plus but anyway, on quite a few shows on this Discovery Plus has been very, very good to me.
Good, yeah. Well, when we were you were just talking, I'm going to ask you this because I might forget it. So you were talking about, spirits don't come out of the dark and all this. But all right, so as I'm picking your medium brain now, when they come over here to visit, when they're down here to visit, and
in visitation,
whatever, do they care? Do they know whether it's day or night anyway?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think they have any concept of it because. I think it's, see, as well as I do, you can get EVPs, you can get evidence during the day, you can get it at night. I don't just do readings at night. I do readings during the day. I don't only just do seance at night. I do seance during the day. Mm-hmm. So I don't believe that they really, they may ascertain it because they're all energy. Everything is energy. And, there are different, the night and day do have different energies and different feels about them. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it really, they just care. I mean, I don't think it really matters. And like the forms that they come through, like if you see them objectively, like through your eyes, you know what? I believe it's not them. I believe that's not the way they want to be perceived, but that's the way that your brain can actually perceive them. I believe that, what you're seeing is not, real in a reality sense, but this energy that's affecting what may be your vision or your, whatever you're using, to visualize whatever it is in front of you, that's what comes through. And that's why a lot of people get like crazy with all that, well, I saw a monster. Well, was it really a monster? Oh, it was a demon. Was it really a demon or was it Uncle Joe? And that's just the way that you took him as he came through, Well,
isn't it true that it takes a while for them to know how to come back as something,
Depends. Some people can come. I've witnessed people come back like within 3 hours of their death.
As themselves.
Yeah.
Not, with a piece missing or anything.
No, seriously, it's most times it takes a while for, for, to actually get used to what's happening. But if you get somebody that's already highly developed.
Yeah.
They'll just boom, they're right there, It's the same thing with messages, bang, they're right there, Others take, forever. So there's no uniform standard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because remember they used to say, well, it's very difficult for them to become a full body apparition, because that takes so much energy, and they need to slow it down, and we need to fasten up ours.
Well, but you know what? Here's the thing, though, Mar. I mean, I always preach this, and you know this. I said the right person, right place, right time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the same thing with haunted houses. I mean, you go to we talk about the Hinsdale a lot, and that's one of the big places up here in New York State. I mean, that place. I've been going up there since 2011, and that place kicks ass. I mean, that's just like an amazing place. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I've read a letter from the former owners, the McMahon family, that said nothing ever happened up there. Nothing. It was never haunted or whatever. And when the Dandy family moved in there, it was like Spook Central. So why is that? Well, the reason is because you had the right combination of energy at the right time at a place that, I mean, may have, some kind of energetic portal there. And I mean, dowsers, if you go dowsing out there, two negative ley lines cross directly underneath the house. So you know what I mean? So I mean, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. And then it's the same thing with paranormal investigations. I can go out there and get nothing, nada, zilch. I'll tell you what like really torques me is my buddy Frank, and he just razzes me beyond And what it is he can put his gear down on a table, and it can flash out of its mind. I mean, it's like everything's going on. I take my gear, put it in between his gear. His gear is flashing. Everything's going on. Mine is doing nothing. And it's just what it is. And it depends on the energy, depends on the person, depends on what they want to. Well, sometimes it depends on what they want to do. So, you got to just go and you got to play. You got to play the game with them. You really do. Like I say, that community center in Lyons.
Yeah.
Nothing. We got. You could see shadows. You could see this. You could see that. And and you could see there was a shadow sitting up on the top in this cupola for probably a good 20 minutes. I mean, it was just there. But I mean, for evidence, I caught that. Yeah. Before that, I probably have like 20, 25 clips. That's nothing. Photographs, nothing. Maybe dowsing rods a little bit, but I mean, nothing, basically nothing. And I got that I got that unbelievable, I won't say it's a class A, but I mean, that really strong EVP.
Yeah.
And we got nothing after that. So, right place, right person at the right time.
It's a good thing to follow, because some people say, well, I'm worthless. I can't get anything. Well, I say that with me and EVPs, but not worthless. I just can't get anything. But yeah, it's probably wrong place, wrong time, and eventually when it's supposed to be, it will be. But
exactly.
But people, when they go out and they try to get something and get discouraged, they don't go back and try again.
Well, I think people try too hard.
Yeah.
Come on, Mario. You know how long we've both been in this field, and I don't try at all. I am so jaded, and I tell people right off the bat, I don't care if we get anything whatsoever. I don't care at all. But I'm more there for the history. I'm more there for the urban exploration of the place, the experience of the place. I love the vibe of the place. I mean, that's what they brought me in on. For Portals to Hell to do. I mean, that was my big. That was the big thing. Walk in, tell us what's going on, and I love doing that. But evidence, well, whatever. If I get it, I get it. I mean, I probably this was probably the best EVP I've gotten in years, and I would probably say the last EVP I got was probably an FU, like quite a few years ago.
What, like attracts like? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sometimes they just want to. Sometimes they just want to be happy. That's all I can say. At least I didn't get my buddy Joe. Why don't you die and come to us? That was not a good one.
Oh
yeah, that was a good one.
That's funny. And, people will say that when they get those kinds of messages that they're demonic. But, it's just, somebody's grandmother who's going, yep, I'm going to have some fun now. Or so, seriously.
Or they want to make sure that they know that you're not just getting this on a regular band, because it's like, FCC is not allowed to. But the other thing you have to look into is the fact that shortwave radios affect a lot of things. I mean, a shortwave radio that frequency can go down like a set of pipes and actually vibrate a message out, like words and stuff. And some people are picking that up and using those as EVPs when it's just a guy with a shortwave radio that has just happened to be at the right place at the right time. So you have to really be careful with it. That's the big thing. Like when we got the 7, that denotes intelligence. So okay, this was a direct response to an activity, to an active, being able to go and ask a question. But sometimes a lot, you'll get gibberish, or you'll get stuff that doesn't matter, or it doesn't seem like it fits the question. And then of course that goes into the time dimension thing, where are you in their time, or are they reaching through into our time, and they're like not knowing that you're there, so they're carrying on like a regular day, and they're picking that up, and so you don't know. There's a lot, there's so many theories out there for it, and I think that's the fun of what we do.
I'm going to jump around to something else, because it just came back to me that you were talking about the corneal transplant, and that it was cadaver cornea.
Right, cadaver tissue, they put it.
Right. Now, see, I'm a little weird about that, because I was going to get an implant, but they would have to do it with cadaver whatever.
Right.
And I just didn't want to do that. But a lot of people also say, that people take the whoever it is into their bodies, and then their spirits in there. And did you ever think that was possible? Do you think that you were a little bit worried about it?
No, I wasn't worried about it at all. And Nancy, of course, my darling, loving wife, when I went in from they had to remove a stitch, which is, micro stitch out of the eye, which is like, you don't even want to know how they take that out. And of course, Nancy asked about that. Will he have these, visions or whatever? And my surgeon was the lead of the transplant team, and he goes, no, I don't think so. He goes, because there's no major blood vessels that go to that part of the body. He goes, maybe heart or lungs or liver or something, kidney, because that might be a little bit more plausible, but not so much that. Which is why I think that I don't think nothing. I have yet to have like a dream or anything that I can't really like relate to, But I think that was the way for this person to actually come through. I really do, was with that scanner box. So, am I saying no? I said I'm going to say this: if I should happen to get something, Marla, you'll be the first to know.
And keep it in your part of the neck of the woods. That's why there's 3,000 miles that separates us. Because you're very generous in certain things, and you would like to share and share alike.
But I'll be honest with you, the surgery's tough. Not going to lie. It's uncomfortable for the first 24 hours and stuff. But it's listen, cadaver eye. I can actually say that I got a piece of somebody else in me now. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you hear about, and I had to interview years and years ago, this isn't paranormal, but a man who had his hand transplanted, somebody else's transplanted. And, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking Frankenstein, or what is it, that Peter Lorre movie, The Beast with Five Fingers?
Yes.
And I'm just seeing
or the
that
Tingler.
ring.
The Tingler's another one with the hand. Yeah, that's another good one.
And I didn't ask him. I mean, this was business and it was for a magazine and I couldn't, whatever. But, I thought, oh God, you've got somebody's hand and suppose it's mean and it doesn't like you. You're going to choke yourself with it or something. I mean, it was just, kind of crazy. But people think like that.
Yes. Yes, you do, Marla.
Yes,
you do.
Every so often, yeah. And the hand was kind of, it didn't I mean, I'm glad he had it because, he now had a functional hand. But, you look at it and it didn't match the other one a little bit, so the mind wanders.
The mind does wander. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
And as we age, it really wanders even more.
That's the scary part. Yeah. Who cares about some cadaver thing? It's just our own brains going weird.
You know what? I'm at the point now. It's funny because if I'm I haven't done cleansings in a while, but I keep everything very organized because in a case. And it's the same thing with my paranormal gear. I mean, I keep everything. Everything has a place, and everything goes back into that place immediately after I'm done using it. And the reason for that is the fact that I don't know how many times I've set a flashlight down and I can't find it. And is it spirit that's playing around? Probably not. Probably just my brain that isn't working right. And I just, now everything has to be in its place. It really does because I will, I have to put my keys in place. And I think that just comes with old age and, senility. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, with me, I can't find something, and I swear to God, I'm looking at it, and I don't see it. That's kind of scary. Well, it's like, who put it there? Come on, who's playing the game? Where is it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm the same way. I'm the same way, Mar.
It's like, oh, it's right in front of me. What the hell? Yeah. Everything is a little bit spooky sometimes.
Oh, yeah. But that, again, it's all different degrees and different things. And, I'm at the point now. I remember a day when I was like, no, I'm not going to be running ramshackle into these places. Or I'm really going to be, now I'm just at that point now where it's like, I'm not worried about picking anything up. These little attachments, I don't know if I haven't had anything in many, 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 many years. I'm like, don't believe in demons. Don't believe in angels either. But I mean, I believe in good and bad energy and neutral energy.
Yeah.
And I believe in continuation of the personality and the ego and that sort of stuff. But it's like, you go into these places and it's like, I'm not going to take it. Listen, I was in the Grand Midway Hotel down in Windber, Pennsylvania. And this place is like out of a sideshow. It's phenomenal. If you love oddities, this is the place to be. And they have theme rooms. And, my buddy Frank slept in the vampire room. Of course, it had a secret door that went into a crypt that had like 5 coffins in it. And another friend slept in the werewolf room, and another friend slept in the Frankenstein room, and yours truly slept in what else? The demon room.
Of course.
Well, and you know why I slept in the demon room?
You had a kinship for it. No, go ahead.
Pretty close. The bathroom was directly across, but you had to run underneath an 8-foot statue of Pennywise to get there. That had like a UV light on it. It's like, and when I woke up, there's there was an artist actually that way back when he used to rent the rooms out to like students and artists and stuff, and he did all these demon posters or not posters, but these demon paintings, and they've got them in there. And I woke up and. I don't know. It was probably 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And I look up, and there is like a demon, a naked demon standing at the foot of my bed. It took a couple seconds for me to realize it was a painting. And I think I think people have seen a picture of my legs with socks on my feet with the demon standing there looking at me.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So needless to say. That was about the only action I got that night where it was like, where it kind of like shocked me. But that place is crazy. I mean, you guys if anybody really wants to check out a really offbeat but really cool place, Grand Midway Hotel is there, and he's got now. When Anne Rice was living in New Orleans, she had a doll museum. She was a big doll collector, and when she moved to Los Angeles, she took only half of her dolls with her. Well, guess where the other half are? In this place, in the Grand Midway Hotel.
Nice.
And it's so cool. And you would love it, Mar, because you walk into the, there's the biggest astrological painting on the ceiling in there. You go into the dining room. It's got this long medieval table in there, and there's the world's biggest, I believe it's the world's biggest tarot card painted on the ceiling.
Nice.
The rooms, they range from like really crazy to like a Harry Potter type room, which was really nice. It was a great room. But Butch, I can't think of who played Eddie Munster? Butch.
Oh my God, Butch! I was not Butch Cassidy.
I'm thinking Butch Cassidy myself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
bad. We knew
he
this.
He comes down there a few times a year and stays at the Grand Midway. Butch Patrick.
Yeah.
And Eric Roberts was just down there staying there, doing a film. And the owner Blair, he's I believe he's a cinematographer, and he works on different movies, some big names and stuff. So it's really, you guys get a chance to stop there. It was just, you walk in there and there's just like a coffin sitting there in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, that would be apropos. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was just a great place. And then I can't think of the name. Can't think of the number. I think it's Flight 93, the one that crashed in Pennsylvania. That memorial is there. That is like moving, and that's crazy to. I mean, the minute you get on that property, the hair on your arms, just kind of raise, and it was really it was great. So that's about an hour away. It's about an hour away. So it was really that was a great trip. That was just a great overnight trip. We all a bunch of us, a bunch of yahoos went down there. The AARP paranormal gang were out there because everybody's retired. Is
that what you're calling yourselves now?
Well, yeah, because you know what, people are like, when you go and you're filling out these, their forms and stuff, they're always going, well, what group are you? And I'm thinking to myself, well, we're not even a group, we're just a bunch of friends that get together and do it. And, most everybody's retired. And, so I just said AARP paranormal. So I'm waiting for the people at AARP to go and send me a cease and desist letter. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, I think it's only if you're making money off of it.
Otherwise, there's no money being made anywhere in that group. Let me tell you. There's more money that's being spent than it is put in.
Well, because you're doing it for the right reasons.
Well, we're doing it because I like the fact that a lot of it is all experimental, and I like the fact that we're using every different, all sorts of facets to work, and you know what, we're not doing it for anything. We're not doing it for, hey, look at us. We don't really care. We're just out there doing, and I think the biggest problem right now is like everybody wants to be on TV. Everybody wants a network show. Yep. And I'm just sort of like, I've been blessed. I've gotten on quite a few. And, and I'm still getting calls, and I'm still, getting some neat stuff. And just to do, like I say, extra work for Nick or whatever. Yeah. But, I think that's not the whole idea. The whole idea should be, to enjoy what you're doing, because joy is what is the key element of spirit contact, and just having fun with it, and then just kind of being serious. We go, like I say, we get together. We're working with our recorders. We probably, out of like 3 hours, we probably work about 35 or 40 minutes, and the rest of the time we're laughing and giggling and having a good time, Exactly. And we get stuff, and that's the way it works. All
right. Well, the way we're working tonight is that we're going to take a break. So everybody can sit back, have some questions for any of us. We'll be back in a minute, and you can ask, and I've got one. So there we go.
I'm afraid now.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, we'll be right back.
Looking for a supernatural radio show that is informative and fun? A show with topics such as ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic energy, spirits, cryptids, and more, hosted by paranormal investigators with years of investigations under their belts? Then look no further than The Calling 2.0, powered by the Sim Crew, hosted by paranormal investigator Jerry and psychic medium Valentina, along with others. Tune in on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on the Para X Radio Network.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening in to Stirring the Cauldron. I just wanted to give you a quick heads up if you don't already know about the free weekly Witches Oracle deck readings that I post on my website every Monday. Now let me answer the age-old question before you ask it, which is, well, how do I know it's for me? And the answer is pretty simple. If you weren't meant to see it, you wouldn't know it was there. So if you're curious about what the week has in store for you, pop on over to marlabrooks.com every Monday and scroll down on the homepage, and there it will be.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal, Para X.
And I believe we're back. Marla, are we back? Are we?
Yeah.
Are we out of the ethers? Are we done astral projectiling and hanging out and chasing the bats out of our belfry? Are we back?
That will never happen. The bats are there to stay. But I just wanted, you're talking about, people that sometimes you see in the house and everything. And I just have this, it came back, this is from a long time ago, but I brought somebody home from not the wax museum.
Wait a minute. No,
ghost, spirit, attachment.
Okay. This was not like the wax figure of like Brad Pitt or anybody, right?
No,
you were
no.
that I mean, hey, sometimes listen, I have to go and we have to like really make sure. We were talking about sex magic earlier, so we got to just make sure that we know what you were. Clarify.
Yeah, okay. I had an attachment that came back with me, and it was actually wreaking havoc with the cats and the dog and the bird. And, after a while, because the bird was kind of like a familiar, he picked up serious. I mean, the cat did, the dog did, but Bentley really was on the ball. So Tim and I were talking one day, and I said, and I told him, where we were and what happened, and we were, I thought that was somebody who was, followed me back from the bank because I didn't get any EVPs. And on the way out the door, with the recorder still on, I said, please just give me something on my way out. Just, pitiful. So I called, Tim and I were talking, and I said, look, there's somebody in this house. And it's, I'm not so mad about it, but it's when it gets to the pets, I get pissed off. So he's sitting there, and again, he's telling me this and this and this, and he goes, he's not a nice guy. And Tim started to laugh. And I said, what? And he says, he said he's not leaving, and he's rummaging through your underwear drawer. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh. So
man's got to have a hobby. Spirit's got to have a hobby.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, if anybody, that you need Tim's advice, just be careful. Because, he sees things that maybe somebody's other people can't see or something. But, yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, one of the big things that they're always, I won't say demon. I won't go into that. But, I mean, a lot of times, you get like a lower energy spirit, a lower energy personality. I mean, that's what they go for. I mean, you'll see them go through, women's underwear drawers and they'll find panties in the kitchen and in the knife drawer or something. That's common. That's kind of funny, but that's just the way it works.
Well, yeah, and it fit because Victoria, who was the medium there, and we did a seance, and she described this guy, from the 40s, and he had patent black hair, and she said he was mafia or whatever, and she gave us a name, and I looked it up the next day, and sure as hell, I saw a picture and the name fit, because that was the Hollywood mob boss in the 1940s. So apparently, he followed me home, and, but that was the last thing I expected from Tim. I just, not put it that way, because that's probably, but I didn't think that this guy was doing that, because, he was pissing off the bird. The bird was flopping around all the time. I couldn't keep the cage covered because he was, scared, and the dog was barking, and the cats were hissing, but, I just figured, he's going to leave sooner or later, but I guess he was busy.
I had somebody, as you know, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I'm taking some time off, and I get these people that they'll go and they'll they'll message me or whatever, and it's can you tell if I have attachments or whatever, and it's like. Mm-hmm. First of all, these, understand what an attachment is. Attachments, it's just like stray energy that attaches to you. They might have a personality attached, might not. Might be natural, just naturally occurring, energy, and it can cause stuff. It can cause doors to open. It can cause, uneasy feelings and stuff like that. And they usually last about 4 days. Anything after 4 days, well, then you might have something a little bit more stronger that you really need to deal with. Mm-hmm. But it's like, no, and people kind of get upset when I said, no, I'm not working, people get a little upset with it. And it's like, well, you have to understand, if knowledge is power. So if you know what you're, all, the different types of spirits and kind of know how to handle them, and you're not really, you might be apprehensive, but you're not afraid of the stuff, you'll mm-hmm. never have a problem. But the problem I see all the time is you get a lot of people out there that think this is cool. I would say it's one step below a thrill ride or a haunted house, and they don't take the time to actually study. They don't know who Harry Price is, or
mm-hmm.
James,
mm-hmm.
or you know what I mean. They don't, Hans Holzer, and I mean they don't know who these people are. Even right to the Warrens now. Now that Lorraine's gone, it's sort of like boom. The name has disappeared. Yeah. And this is what sucks, because people are not educating themselves. It's almost, yourself in the traditions. It drives me insane when these people are like, well, I've read this out of a book and that. And I said, oh, I know the author. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what? I said, the late Raymond Buckland. I know the author. It's like, well, do you know who Raymond was and what he stood for? And No, nobody knows this stuff, and nobody is doing the background check. Everybody takes everything like at face value, and the worst thing that drives me absolutely insane, is, where are they learning their skills? Did they work with anybody? Did they, or did you just go out and buy a K2 meter and a recorder and just go out there, And everything you learned is off of TV. Well, if you watch a few of these shows, and I'm not going to mention any specific shows, you got a host that's running in fear, running down the, running away, or else you got everything's a demon. Anywhere you go is a demon, and it's like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. And this is what they're, and you even hit it earlier when you said something about, when I was kidding about the F-bombs, like attracts like. Well, what do you think you're going to get? What do you think you're going to get? You're sending off that energy. Guess what's going to come following you? It's the same thing with Ouija boards. It's like, you're playing with I shouldn't say play, but you're working with a Ouija board. And if you're afraid of it, it's going to take advantage of you. Whatever it is, might be lower, will take advantage of you. We were working the Ouija board at Grand Midland, and so we're in that big, on the big dining room table. We're working the Ouija board, and all of a sudden Zozo comes through, and I start laughing, and one of the guys with us was like, "Well, it's Zozo," and I said, "Oh, it's just a Sumerian, demon, blah blah blah." Guess what? It went, and whatever it was, like surrounded him. You could feel the cold. You could feel the absolute cold coming off from where he was. So guess what? They're going to find the weakest link. Yeah. And he had to get up and walk around because it was like, wow. And then I thought, well, you know what? It's, I don't want to go and push this. I mean, it's, if he hadn't been there, I probably would have pushed it a little bit more, because not that, and Marla and me, I don't poke the devil at all. But it's like, I don't want to, it's not right to do if somebody in the group is a little apprehensive. So I mean that's what you want. I mean, you go and you've got to go and Sherry, you're right. Book educated witches, exorcists, or mail order certificates. That's exactly it. I know of an exorcist that has never mentored under anybody. And exorcists are religious people. Is not a member of a church. Never, doesn't have a belief, that in something and calls himself an exorcist. And that to me is absolutely wrong. I have a big problem with that. I mean, people who do deliverances and clearings, that's one thing, but don't mess it. Yeah, and even up to a point with people, you have to be very, very careful because it's all it's that whole thing is self-fulfilling prophecy, and whatever happens, you got to watch that, and if something negative happens, that's on you. That's all on you. So. But that really bothers me. I mean, but they go on TV and they're doing this and they see this and okay. I mean, I understand. Listen, I'm seduced by product placement too. I've bought some cool stuff. That just hasn't really worked out for me. But I paid $200 for it, so damn it, I'm going to use it. But I can understand that. But I would say a lot of the methodology is wrong. And the other thing is Jason Hawes was just up at we headlined with the Kling brothers a thing and a great event down in Virginia. And even Jason says, you have to really kind of really it'd be better for you to work with somebody at least for a little while. And not really just take everything on TV because we're there for 4 days. Different teams going in and out, days, nights, and 2 to 4 days, and you're seeing 26 minutes. Yeah. So, that's the problem with it. You have to go and you have to be realistic with it. And the other thing is it's again, people just want to go out there and they want to be scared. And I think that's a basic natural instinct in human beings. They want to be scared, whether it's morality plays or if it's just to go and get that adrenaline going, or to fight or flight, just to stimulate that in order to go. And I really believe that. And I think it's something that people really seek out. And and when you're doing investigations, you can have a good time. We laugh and joke, and my buddy Frank always makes a pizza to take with us, and and we're and we take we will go and we'll do sessions and then take breaks and then take more sessions. But the problem is that too many people just are learning sometimes the wrong things. I would say the wrong things through TV.
Yeah. I got another question from the chat room. She said, why do some spirits decide to appear as their younger selves as they passed away elderly? I ask because I saw a husband and wife in the 1930s when they were married, but they both passed in their 70s.
Because that was when they felt the best. They felt more when they were most vibrant. I'm a firm believer in that. Like a lot of times they'll appear to me as they were, and then they'll show me a younger version of themselves, or vice versa. Younger version will show me an older version of themselves, and I firmly believe that's when they felt their best. That's when they felt, that they were alive, and that's what in their brain. That's what they have always seen themselves as. That let's face it, Mari. You're still picturing yourself with those white go-go boots and the mini skirt, and and I'm walking around with my disco polyester shirt and my Bastad clogs. That's the way I'm thinking. And hair, when I had hair,
and hair, yeah,
and I had hair, and that's the way we think about it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but I think that. But that's when we felt our best. I really believe that.
And I've heard, and it's true, and it probably goes alongside of that if you know somebody who was elderly, but you didn't know what they looked like young, or vice versa, they're showing you that you can recognize them from what they remember.
Yeah, or from photos. If if you get if you look up and you see somebody that's younger, and I'll be honest with you see something like that, you don't forget it that quickly. And, you see a photo of that person, let's say, when they were in their 30s or 20s. Bang, it's right on. And that's what, that a lot of times they do it for that reason. 1,001 theories on it. 1,001 theories.
Yeah. And, it's funny because there's a lot of theories in the paranormal, in the metaphysical, and we find our own truths, but the bottom line is we're never going to know for sure until we get there,
Never,
and
never.
frustrating.
And even when we get there, will we really know?
Well, I think we would have the ability to find out if we cared.
We'd have a good idea, but by then I won't care.
Yes, you will. You're going to be rubbing your hands together about, okay, what can I do now?
What mischief can I? Who can I scare now?
Yes.
Somebody's going to have a piece of my collection, and I'm going to go visit them, and then they're going to sell that piece of that collection so quickly. They will get rid of it quick.
Yeah, because the DNA from life to life is the same, right? So, the leopard doesn't change their spots, and you will always be mischievous.
Yes, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, for the most part.
And I see Sherry's got a question.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the flashlight trick? You know what? Flashlight is a thermodynamics, heat, and that's the way it's explained. I called up Maglite, and we talked to Maglite once, and first of all, the guy says, "What the hell do you use this for?" And he goes, "Well, it shouldn't work like that. That's not the way it works, because there's a little tongue that, when they warm, if it should get warm a little bit, it'll move." Here's the problem with anything. It's not designed to do what it's supposed to do. K2s are not designed to do what we use them for. Audio recorders are not designed to do to do what we use them for. the flashlights are not designed to do what we use them for. But why do they work? Is it coincidence? Yeah, a lot of times it is. Do you ever, a lot of times you'll be using the flashlight and you go, can you shut the flashlight off? Come on. And it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer.
Mm-hmm.
That could be it cooling. That could be a breeze hitting the casing. That could be anything like that.
Could that be our energy also?
But it could be our energy too.
Okay, thank you.
It could be our energy. It could be spirit energy. It could be any energy. But then all of a sudden you're like, hey, can you turn up a specific light on? And it goes on. We were in the family cemetery of the Hull House in Lancaster, New York. And we were back there, and we had all sorts of gizmos and stuff set up. And there's the Hulls that are buried in there, and the Wheelocks are buried in there. And we had flashlights just about on all these standing graves, because back in the 60s, it was vandalized and the stones were stolen, and and when they did the scan of it, they're not sure who's buried where. There's only one person they know that where they were originally buried. They're not sure of the rest. And but we put these flashlights on there, and we asked, can you light up only the Wheelock family? And there was like 3 people from the Wheelock family. Do you know all 3 of those flashlights went on? No other flashlight went on? Why is that? So I don't use it very often.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have sometimes my doubts on it. It's like, the SKS cameras and all that. But you know what? I've seen enough of it, and with the cameras and the lights to say, well, maybe. I'm not going to poo-poo it. I'm not going to poo-poo it, because I believe that anything that you use, if you can kind of sink yourself into it, and I say sink yourself into it, like the old mediums used to go and basically sleep with their seance tools.
Okay.
They did. I mean, they would put it underneath their bed or whatever, so that they could attune themselves to it. And if you have some tools, if you have some meters and stuff that you've attuned to and you've used time and again, I mean, I know somebody that's got this old beat-up Olympus audio recorder. I mean, this thing is like about 25 years old. Mm-hmm. She gets great EVPs on it. She goes and uses even one that's like 10 years old. She gets nothing. So I think if you're attuned to it, I really think that it will work. So, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, we won't use the flashlight trick. The flashlight thing. Go ahead if you want to use it. Try it out. If it works, it works. Perfect. You just got to go and just get some positive stuff. You can't say, oh, no, can you turn it off? And, it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. You've got to try to be able to go and say, hey, can you turn this on now? Come on, turn it on now. And the thing will go on within real time. That's what you're looking for.
Well, those are tools they're using, and in witchcraft, what do? We consecrate the tools that we're using. We hold them in our hands. We put our energy into them, so they'll work better for us. So it's kind of the same thing, except that you probably don't know anything about it.
I was just going to say, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't.
Oh, God. There should be some punishment for, well, I'm not saying lying exactly, but stretching the truth.
As I calmly look over to my writing desk and see my book of shadows sitting there on top of it. Yeah. I don't know any of that stuff. You know how it is.
No,
you know how
Yeah. Well, all I know, and people have known this before, we at Para-X got gray hairs trying to get that out of you. Because,
no.
Yeah. I mean, I'll 10 gray hairs on my head at least. Because I don't know this. He's doing all this stuff behind the scenes, behind the camera. We're talking not on the shows. And he's talking about spells, and he's talking about all this other stuff, and Santa, whatchamacallit? And
Santa Muerte,
yeah. And, and then we get on the air. So, Tim, let's talk about spells. Well, how do I know about spells? Now, come on, Tim. You have to spill it now. What do you, and oh my God.
No.
It was like pulling teeth from a walrus. Because I figured those are hard to yank. Or do they have teeth? Yeah, they must. But anyway,
so we know.
You say, well, yeah, but those are teeth. Anyway, but yeah, and you know, this is interesting because you were in spiritualism. You know, you were a medium, are a medium, and all these metaphysical things you admitted to, but you never admitted to witchery. And you know, there's a lot of reasons why people don't, because you know that I didn't want to do this show. I mean, Stirring the Cauldron. At first, because I didn't want to come out of the broom closet, you know, and then I had everybody, Dave Jones and all kinds of people, Para X, just niggling at me, you know, to do it. So, I mean, it's not easy to admit that sometimes. But what was your reason for not admitting it?
Because I was a nice spiritualist.
Okay.
Well, you know, it's funny because back, it's not that far along.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a pretty big schism between the two, you know, and I mean, and spiritualism, modern spiritualism is a recognized religion, and it's separate from, you know, many of the traditions, you know, and of the craft, and you know, I mean. You really had to, it was a fine line that you walked, and it was like, well, this was, you could go, and with spiritualism, I mean, you could only go so far, you know, and back then they didn't go, and it was a big thing about physical phenomena because of all the frauds and stuff, you know, that had happened back in the 30s and 40s, even 50s, and so I mean, you wanted to go, and you didn't want to rock the boat, so to speak. The minute that I won't say I left the church, the religion, because I'm actually back in the. I don't really practice. I really don't go to services that often, but I'm a member of the National Spiritual Association of Churches. But the minute that I started breaking away, it was like, well, you know, all holds are barred. You know, all holds are gone. You know, I don't care now. You know, I'm ready to go. You know, and I mean, I had met like Raymond Buckland through Lilydale, through the Lilydale Spiritualist Assembly. I mean, that's where I met him. And I started meeting more and more people that were, you know, within the craft. And it's like, and then of course, I mean, all the Strega and then the Santeria, and then of course Utu, Witch Doctor Utu. I mean, you start, collecting an eclectic group of friends around you of different traditions, and then you realize that, the religion that I was, that I belonged to, was just like another religion. It was just full of dogma and what you can't do and what you can do. And then, you work with other people, and it's like the world is different possibilities, full of possibilities. And that's what it was, and I'm a firm believer in manifestation. This was not stuff that they really allowed back then. Now, the spiritualist church, a lot of the old blue hairs, most of the old blue hairs that I was worked under, they're all dead now. And so there's a whole group of, new people that are in there, and what you're seeing is it's not the British or the Australian spiritualism, where it's a lot more stricter. Now it's starting to get a little bit more diluted. Even like, the modern spiritualists are a little bit more open to different things, especially manifestation and even, like I said, they even started up accepting, like, working with seance again more. You start seeing more of it on their activities. And they talk a little bit more about physical phenomena at their conventions and stuff, where before that was pretty much forbidden. And it was not. I remember, Mar, it was tough for me to find somebody to teach me.
Yeah.
As a kid it was a little different, but to find somebody up here that actually did it, and hardly anybody did it, or trumpet mediums. So I know of one that's left, and that's it. We've used trumpet, and we've had stuff happen, but it's like not like the old days. So, to be able to go and find these mentors and find these people that were so, it's different now. It's more open. People are really, they're embracing it more. And even the spiritualists, that were hardcore, I mean, they're looking and seeing, like, the success of the TV shows.
Right.
And understanding that they walk hand in hand with paranormal investigators. So, it's a lot more open, I guess. That's the best way to say it. It's more accepting than it actually was. Even when I got flack when I got the Black Cat Lounge in Para X from other spiritualists. I mean, you remember I told you about that years ago. So, now, I mean, I get emails all the time and messages from other spiritualists. Listen, I got a book. Can I come on and plug it and we can talk about it?
See? Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot more open, and it's a whole different crop of people. It really is.
Times have changed.
Oh,
yeah. And speaking of the craft, anybody that is in the witch world knows the name Scott Cunningham.
Yes.
And his sister Christine wrote a book that has just come out or will be coming out called The Path Taken, Honoring the Life and Legacy of a Wiccan Trailblazer. Now, when I started reading up on witchcraft and everything, I had his books. I mean, that was the go-to book.
Back then, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And Christine is going to be my guest in a week or two, and we're going to talk about the book, and we're going to talk about the man. And I'm really excited to have her on.
Yeah, he passed early, and
I
think that's a shame because he didn't get his due. I really don't believe that he got his due.
August 17th. That's when Christine will be with me, and we've talked on the phone a couple of times, and I mean, it's somebody. It's like somebody who remembers Hans Holzer, and got to talk to, because these people aren't around anymore, but they're, as the book says, trailblazers in whatever they're doing.
And I mean, it's
just like Buckland was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that museum, the little museum in Cleveland, the Buckland Museum,
yeah,
I'm so thankful. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you go in there, and it honors Buckland, but it also honors other people. I mean, you walk in and you see Gardner's cane and his briefcase.
Oh man!
You see pieces from Aleister Crowley's stuff from the collections. You see Rosemary Ellen Guiley's Dark Mirror on the wall. I mean, there's so much in there. You go in there, you see stuff that and I actually have a piece that I'm donating. That's going to go into the museum, and I mean, how about Grimaldi? He's got letters from Grimaldi, and
oh my God,
it's so great to be able to look at this stuff and say, "Wow, what a collection this is! This is an amazing thing." And I'll tell you what the shame of it is. A lot of them don't even know who Buckland is anymore. That is shocking to me, but I can understand it because a lot of people, really, if it wasn't for streaming TV, I think a lot of people would basically be forgetting who the Warrens were. And and I can't wait for this. I am gonna shut down my table at the Michigan Paracon up at Sault Ste. Marie for this talk. Zaffis and Chip Coffey. It's going to be Remembering the Warrens.
Oh.
And they're going to talk about the Warrens. And that is a talk that I want to hear. Because Chip is great because I know, he's funny about the Warrens, about Lorraine. He worked with her on Paranormal State. But Zaffis is the one. You get him going. I mean, I get all the good stuff from Zaffis, and he has a lot to say, and and he was really instrumental back in the early days. He used to drive him around, and he'd be, he was all part of that haunting in Connecticut, and a lot of the other smaller, other cases that they were involved in. So,
But I think some people don't know that John Zaffis was his Earl's nephew. I mean,
right,
yeah,
right. And that's what scares, and believe me, and Johnny still scares the hell out of me sometimes.
And see, when I was scared because I had to work with him, co-host something, I was scared to death of John, and I go to you, and I go, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I'm afraid he doesn't know me. He's going to, laugh me off the air and blah, 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 blah. And what advice did you give me?
I said, ask him about his banana hammock.
Which I thought literally was a hammock. And yeah. And somewhere early, right before we were going on the air, I said, Tim asked me to ask you about your banana hammock. He didn't say anything for a minute, but then he burst out laughing. And he couldn't stop laughing, and all of a sudden I realized what that was. And I cursed you so bad. Yeah.
He's funny. He's what? But as you know, I learned so much from him, and that's and he's always been there. When I had my eye surgery, he'd call me up and go, "Did you see this show? It sucked." Or, "Did you see that show? They didn't do a good representation." I just absolutely love talking to him because my favorite one is I'm going into, after I had the surgery, I got to go in and, like twice a week or whatever for, follow-ups for the eye. And he caught me one time as I'm walking in. I go, "Hey, John." He goes, "I'm sorry, that's 8 hours that you'll never get back out of your life, for watching this show." So he's got a wicked sense of humor. I love running into him. He's always good. He's always, him and Andrea, and a lot of the crew from the old timers. It's just, always, it's all we do is laugh.
I was thankful that he had a good laugh out of it at my expense. Thank you. There's another question from the chat room. Do you think a person's ability to see ghosts is passed down through our ancestors?
Everybody can see them if you try hard enough. That's all there is to it. You know what? We're all good in something. Some are better than others. I mean, I can teach psychometry. I can get the vibe off of something, but I really kind of suck at it. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but I do have that ability. Everybody's got all the same abilities. It's just that you have to go and you have to really, you really got to practice it. When we were all in that hunter-gatherer stage, I always say that. We were in that hunter-gatherer stage. You needed all these little extra, hints and tips to, survive, to let your tribe survive. And we just don't use them. We don't use them as often. I mean, you're in a survival situation, you live to like 24, 26. You got to go and make sure that, you're using this, these senses every single day. So it makes a big difference because we're not using them every single day. But yeah, I believe ancestrally, no, I don't believe it's really anything special. I just think maybe perhaps we're more prone to it because of the belief system. Like mom sees it, so mom believes, and I believe that the child is not so afraid of what's going on, so that it's more. I wouldn't say totally ancestral. I'd say it's just natural ability, but I think it's just a lot of it is social. I believe it, how we're trained early on, it makes the biggest difference of all.
Yeah, it's like there's no such thing. Don't ever. That's a lie. Yeah, and kids believe the parents, and then that
exactly
they lose it, but they had it before. We all have it, but you have to believe that it does exist. You have to have an open mind.
Exactly. I mean, it's like everybody's clairsentient. Everybody's this. Everybody has something. Everybody has it. It's just it's how you develop it, how you work with it, and that's all it is. It's muscle memory. It's nothing more than muscle memory. So if you're not afraid of it, and you are physically and spiritually made up to be like that, to be able to see spirit in a physical form, or an objective form, that is exactly that's the way you are. That's, and could it be, like I said, I don't know. I believe that I believe everybody can do anything if they put their mind to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you have to, first of all, you have to believe, and second of all, you have to believe in yourself. That's the harder part. Yeah.
Confidence is, when I teach my advanced mediumship class, I taught one this year, and that's all it is. It's like, well, I can't. I'm afraid. I'm going to look like an idiot. Well, if you think like that, you're never going to do it. If you have the confidence to do it, bang, you're ready to go. That's the difference between me and a lot of the other readers. I have the confidence to do it. I have the skill set. I'll teach you the skill set. A lot of it is, probably it's 50% skill set and 50% ability. And you mix the two together, and that's how you read. It's nothing special. Again, it's just anybody can do it. You just got to work with it. Like I told you earlier, I've been using cards more, and the reason why I use cards, and how many years, Mar, did I always say I don't use cards? Probably
forever.
20 years at least.
Yep.
And I use cards now because it's not as drawing, it's not as draining on me. And I'll do a 3-card pull or a 5-card pull, and I can, and then you mix it a little bit together, and it's not so taxing. But can anybody do that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know how many people have read cards. They can read cards, but they say I'm as psychic as a rock. And then all of a sudden they're telling you stuff, and you're like sitting there going, "Oh, you got that other card?" And I don't see anything in the picture that that's talking about a green Cadillac. What's I don't see anything in that picture. So, I mean, you can. It's a skill set. It really is a skill set, and you just got to sit there and you got to work with it.
And of course, there are people that don't care, and that's fine too,
Yeah. But listen, it's not for everybody.
No.
It's not for everybody. There's a lot of people out there that think they want to do it, and they're doing it for the, sometimes they do it for the wrong reason, and that's when that's when people get into trouble.
Yeah. Well, ego, money, all that kind of stuff, and that's on both ends. That's from our end and the people that want to be on TV. It's the TV that are making money with the advertising and commercials, and I don't know. It's gotten so complicated. It used to be that people that knew things and lived that way and didn't want to be famous and might help people in the community and stuff like that. But yeah, things just got kind of icky.
Well, it gets a little bit like that. I don't mind. It's like, again, it's like it's the cult of fame, and and it's like. I love when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I've always wanted to meet you," and I'm like, "Yeah, really? Why?"
Because you were on TV.
Yeah, big deal. It was so funny. My sister-in-law, who matter of fact, she just moved back up here, to Buffalo, nice. And from Florida, and we were at a little place called the Polish Villa too, which is we like Polish food, and we were in there. And
pierogies, don't they?
Oh, they have everything, Błonki, and oh my god, everything. Oh my god, everything. Kielbasa and everything. Oh my god, everything that's in there, it's just delicious. Okay. So, we're in there, and a younger couple came up and go, "Hi, you're Tim Shaw? We always wanted to meet you." And I thought my sister-in-law was like, she's just looking like, what? And, and it's like, well, I mean, it's funny. I'm flattered, thank you. But it's like a lot of people really get off on that. A lot of people love that. And it's like, and I won't say that I enjoy it, but it's like, yeah, who cares really? When you think about it in the long run, we were talking again, we were during filming because Nick Groff was there and Tess was there and some other people. And we're all talking, it's like our big mantra, everything that we always say, the minute that you're off, the minute that the show is ended, that ship has sailed. You're done. That's it. There's not, what have you done lately? That's exactly what it is,
That is pretty much it,
What have you done lately? That's really it's the truth about it. And I think that's why I have to say so many there's only a few celebrities that really, really have fallen into the cult of that, but But for the most part, everybody else is down to earth, and everybody else is really just just a good person, and really love. They're thrilled to meet people that watch the shows, but they're more impressed by people to sit there and be able to like talk to somebody about about what they're doing and what kind of equipment they're using or whatever. I think most of them love that more than anything else.
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention very well deeply is Santa Muerte. How's that going? How's that working out?
Well, Santa Muerte, the bone goddess, she is on my voodoo my voodoo shelves with my Father Death and the Lovers and the Legba and the Thunder God there, and in my African nail effigies and my alligator head and brass ornaments and stuff. Yeah, so she's doing very, very well, and she's in
good company.
Papa. I have to go and make sure that I kind of switch cigars for them, and I have like dollar bills and candy put on there.
Well, offerings are important.
Yes, they are. Yes, they very, very much so. So, I really think that we've seen a resurgence of Santa Muerte from the patron saint of the cartels to more homogenized, a more gentle version of her, where it's more of a she's a folk saint in Central America that helps not just the downtrodden, but also families and that sort of thing.
No, because when you say that, I think when you mentioned we did that show on Santa Muerte, and people were like, "Oh my God, that's being akin to the devil, and this is horrible. It's black magic and voodoo," and and I think you kind of, you hopefully changed a couple of people's minds, but when you're working voodoo, kind of, you have to be strong. You can't be namby-pamby, or as Buckland would say, fluffy bunny, yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, you can't, in anything that we're doing spiritually or paranormally, you can't be a fluffy bunny. You gotta have balls to do some of this stuff. And, there's so many people that just don't, and they're only, they're interested in it, and that's fine. They want to do so much, but they really won't work to that extent where either you poke, like in paranormal terms, you're poking the devil, or you're going to walk in that, you got to kind of walk in that dark gray area or the dark area in order to understand what's going on in the light. A lot of people are afraid to do that. And a lot of people, and good reason too. A lot of people are, they just don't have that, they just don't have the dedication. And that's the difference between so many different people that like we know and then like the rest of them, and most of the rest of them, you'll see them fall away after a while. Whether it's within the craft or whether it's in paranormal circles, they fall away. And what's left are the hardcore people that really, have no fear of it, have, that really get out there and do the work and get their hands dirty in it. And I'm, and I mean, me, I mean, I'm not afraid to do some things, and
I know very well.
Yeah, well, yeah, which we cannot mention. You know what they are, but we cannot mention.
I do, and that was another 10 gray hairs. just letting you know.
But I mean, you have to be able to do that. So you have to be able to not be afraid of it. It was funny when I got interviewed, a local newspaper or a local TV guy came down to tape my collection for a segment, and he goes, "Oh, what's in that chest?" And I opened it up. I said, "You never know. You never know what you're up against." And he just smiled. He goes, "I figured that's what was in that chest," and it was all the, all my, I'll just say paraphernalia, my magical paraphernalia.
There you go. Got one more question from the chat room, and I can answer this one, but I want you to answer because I want to hear what you're going to say about it. They want to know what exactly is the difference between a witch and a crone.
Well, they're one and the same. They're one and the same, but one is it has gotten to a certain age where they have so much wisdom, and they can impart that wisdom upon younger people within a coven or whatever
or anything
or circle. Yeah. Because I mean, it was so funny. I did a funeral service for a friend of ours, that had passed away. Mm-hmm. And this pretty well-known but older medium. Mm-hmm. And she's dabbled, in the craft and stuff. And she looked at me and she said, you're a sage now. You know that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the F are you talking about? And I'm like, and then I realized, I've hit that age where, it's like, well, you help other people and it's not like I mentor people, mm-hmm. but I mean, people have questions or you guide them or whatever. And, we go and, we do what we do, and it's they're like the senior statesman. It's sort of like Buckland. Buckland was the last of a long breed of sages, and, mm-hmm. A guy like him kind of disappeared. There's just nobody out there. So many people, have gone that there's nobody really taking their places.
No, but you know what? Getting back to the crone for a second, the only reason that there is a difference is the media, who, thinks all old witches are out to give you webbed feet, all the bad things. And crones are ugly creatures, they think. And so that's, I think that's
historically, let's face it. I mean, most of your herbalists and all that, they were older, back then.
Right. And toothless.
They were probably like 36 years old,
Yeah, by
that time
80.
with no teeth or whatever.
Sure.
And,
yeah.
So I mean, sure, that's what they, and that's, and again, that was a lot of, the Christian people that and Christian religions that branded them crones, mm-hmm. and I believe it kind of stuck. I really do, know.
And it's a triple goddess: maiden, mother, and crone. There's three lives in there, and that probably goes for male witches, but probably with a different name. The three, and sage probably for you guys was crone for us.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not sure what tradition that comes from. I really don't, because I know that they don't use that in the Druid traditions, and for men. And I know in some of the other crafts they have other titles. Mm-hmm. So and I know like if and I believe it was Alistair in Crawley and like the Golden Dawn, they were called Magnus, I believe.
Mm-hmm,
so
Magus.
I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I mean, there's different titles for it.
Yeah, so that's it. So I'm a crone, and that's all I can say. I'm a crone, and it's just because of age. The third part of the trilogy. But that's not so bad because we are the wiser now.
I'm just a cranky old guy that sits in his collection room in the basement.
Well, that's a start. Yeah. Mm-hmm. who is retired but busier than anything he was when he was working.
Hey, listen. My big thing now is New York State religions that were born here in New York State, like the Mormons and spiritualism and apocalyptic cults that of the 1800s. And next week I'm running out to Rochester to take a photo of the grave of a Jack the Ripper suspect that is buried there in Rochester, New York. So, I mean, I'm just out there, just kind of being a little busy. Mm-hmm. That's all, just a little busy. People are like, well, you're so busy all the time. It's like, well, I don't have time. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't have time to go for coffee. I got things to do.
Yeah, you're making up for so much lost time. And we talked just really briefly beforehand that you've got a book that you're writing. You want to
you know what I'm you know, it's funny because Nancy always goes, you've been writing that damn book for like years, and it's like so and it's true, and it's so true, because the problem is I have so many different topics I want to cover. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to break out all of my mediumship notes and put them into a book for people to read. I'm not getting any younger, you know, and my brand of mediumship is far more brash than a lot of other people's, and it's a little different. So I'd like to be able to cover that. And then, of course, I have a paranormal book that I really want to put together. But then I thought to myself, I am like collecting right now. I bought another computer for my photographs my photography that I'm working on, but also for all this research that I've been picking up. And because again, I mean, boots on the ground, I'm going all over the place. And what I found is, I think I've got the perfect title for this book. Are you ready?
I'm sitting down.
Things I tell my friends, or stories I tell my friends.
That's nice.
And it's like, the reason being is because this way I can share stories of Dr. Francis Tumblety, the Jack the Ripper suspect. I can share Father Alphonse Trabolt, the Jesuit exorcist and demonologist from St. Bonaventure University that worked the Hinsdale case. I can go and I can talk about, you know, my experiences at West Virginia Penitentiary or you know, wherever I am, you know, the different jails or the different asylums or the different haunted houses or stuff that I have gone and I've told friends, you know, these stories. And I thought, you know what, that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to work with it, and I'm going to put this together, and it's going to be a mishmash. It's going to be like it's going to be
good.
I'm going to put all sorts of stuff in a blender, and let's just see what happens. But in the meantime, I'm sitting here at my desk looking at a pile of notes from all, you know, because you know me, because I'm OCD, I have to go and I really am when it comes to my classes, and I update every one of my classes every year. And I really want to sit down and I want to get my style of mediumship out there, where, you know, it's fearless, it's, you know, it's a little it's a little bit of rock and roll. It's you know, the traditionalists are appalled at it. You know, down in Lilydale, some of the traditionalists, they really, but I mean, it rings, you know, it seems to ring a bell with people, and people really feel that, you know, that they love that. They love to have fun with that, and you know, and raise awareness that, you know, we don't have to go and, you know, have a religion. We have spirituality, and our spirituality doesn't have to be duct tape that we have taped to our buttocks, you know?
There you go. And wait, I'm going to have to stop you right there, because that's a great place to stop. We need to get out of here, and duct tape and, you know, whatever. It just sounds right. Just really, really quickly, like 1 minute, where can they find the Black Cat Lounge again, what time and whatever?
Black Cat Lounge will be it will be right back on the air next week. You can just go to Facebook and find it on Timothy Shaw or Tim Shaw, whatever it is, on my Facebook page. And I will have, it'll be on YouTube, and I'll have it on my website, which is www.timothytshaw.com. And I'll have, you know, one of the latest episodes up there, so that you guys can all enjoy it.
And since he never used to do readings, go next Tuesday, because he's, you know, maybe getting a little bit older and wiser and doing more stuff like that. So, you know, it's a chance to take. All right, we got to go. Tim, we need to do this every so often.
Yes, we do.
So we'll work on that. And thank you all for listening. The chat room had good questions, and it was full, and it's all good.
Ciao, babies. I love you all.
Merry meet again. Good night.
You have been listening to the Rev and Witch Show. Classic horror provided by Incomputech.
Written and performed by Kevin MacLeod. Copyright 2017.